questions at the end. That's also important.
Well, all suggestions for improvement are welcome, so I'll just put it in those terms. I'm just going to very briefly just make a couple of quick comments, and then I'm going to hand you over to Tony Kinsella, who I'd like to introduce you to, who is the leader for performance within the council now. I think it's good that you've had the opportunity to meet him, and he has an opportunity to take you through what we're proposing. I think it's important to acknowledge that the indicators contained in this report are reserved to council to agree finally and will be subject to council report. So these are the proposed indicators. I would ask you to bear in mind because it's part of the corporate plan. The corporate plan is reserved to council's decision. I think it's also useful to acknowledge, and I'm sure Tony will touch on this, that this dashboard is actually part of an overall approach to performance management that we want to introduce into the council. And that in itself might be an area that this particular committee might want to have a focus on in the future to see how that's developing and whether it's meeting the needs of us as a council as it progresses. But at that point, can I hand over to Tony to take you through the report?
Yeah, without rereading the report to you, I just want to reiterate that what this report attempts to do is to translate the key priorities from the corporate plan into a high-level set of targets which elected members can use to scrutinise and to ensure of delivery and performance of the project. The report is presented to yourselves today on the basis that both the content and the style of the report. So I'm very happy to hear feedback like coding, follow, etc. Really useful ones. And that the report will develop over time. The high-level indicators contained within this report are underpinned by more detailed indicators at a directorate level and will be scrutinised at the other policy and performance committees. The model which Fiona has alluded to, the approach which we are taking around performance management is very much based on an exception model, and we run that model on a monthly basis, with the exception that officers are accountable for the performance contained within this report. So if performance is not within set parameters, they will be expected to produce an exception report explaining the reasons for performance, or more importantly, a delivery plan outlining what they intend to do to turn around performance and timescales for the delivery of that performance. So that's a very quick overview of the report. I really welcome your feedback on this approach.
Okay, before I take the question, I'm very happy with what you supplied in the report because I have an issue with no writing reports that we've got on. Can I just ask Tony, if you just explain the technical specification sheets?
Yeah, the technical specification sheets are the trajectories for the year, so that's the performance against which on a monthly basis we will measure the delivery of the corporate plan. So what we're very keen to do is be very clear and transparent upfront what performance will be during the year. That's so that we are clear that none of these targets or trajectories are changed, they are fixed. So the performance dips in the year, there will be no manipulation of targets to cover up that performance. So what we're trying to do is to be very transparent about what we're expecting during the year.
Just one quick one, I'll bring questions. Yourselves, will years of data performance not get available? When we expect to see that?
As I say, this is a monthly report, and what we've got is some of these indicators, but they are actually quarterly indicators, so the data is only available on a monthly basis. So once we get through the first quarter, this whole report will be populated. And what we will do through the approach is we will present the most recent quarter
figures as they sit. We've got a performance for last year, and then a plan, a target for this year, and then year-to-date targets. Sorry, it's number 5. Year-to-date targets and the year-to-date performance. And I don't see how, on that year-to-date target and year-to-date performance, we're going to reach that year plan target. I know we're not great on figures, but I just cannot understand that. So if I'm struggling with that now, and we go on all year and I don't clarify how these figures are coming to me, I'm not going to get it all year, am I? Forever.
Right, okay. So you say the distance from target is too great. If you look
Well, the target is 600 or something, and the actual performance, as I see it, the actual performance is 800, and yet the indicator is that it's reducing. Now, it's reducing from last year, but how is that figure going to get us to this year's target? Well, how far on at the year are we?
Shall I have a
start, please? I think Bernie's got something similar, haven't you? You've got similar.
If we just work along that line, because I think it is useful just to work through what it is. Performance 2012-13, that first column of numbers,
Yes.
is 909. You can see that. That's what we had last year,
Yes.
the end of last year.
Yes.
We've then set ourselves a target for this year, which is 635 during 2013.
How did you set that target? Do you know?
We'll have to get the detail from the department.
Huh?
Sorry, 695. I'm sorry, it's very small font for me as well. Getting to that age.
How did we set that target?
The departments did. I'd have to go back and get the
We
detail.
can examine that.
Just in terms of that.
Okay.
If you remember, there's a little appendix which gives the profile of that corporate plan target and where we would expect to be by a certain period during the year.
Where's that?
So on appendix 2. So it's line 5 on appendix 2. Oh yeah, yeah. Can you see under April 13 it says 835?
Yes.
So that's where we would expect to be by April of this year. But our actual figure of where we were at the moment is less than that, which is 816. So we're doing better.
I'm really sorry, I'm really thick on this, but so does 835 represent the number of people so far at this point in the year, or in that part of the year, who've actually gone into residential nursing?
We're essentially looking to reduce the number of people going into residential care.
Yes, yes,
So
we've
it's
got
quite
that.
high. So the year-to-date target would be where we would hope to have reduced the numbers to by now.
The number of people who are actually in. Okay, got you. Not
But
placed.
actually we've reduced it further. So we'd hope to get to 835, but we've actually got to 816.
So in fact,
So
in
we're
fact,
falling
what we're
better.
monitoring, it's not the number of people placed in residential nursing, it's the number of people currently living in residential nursing. Placement to me means people who come into the system and then got placed. And that's where we're having a problem, isn't it? People who are coming in, usually through the hospital system, and getting placed quickly in residential and nursing homes. That's where the issue is. I know we've got more than we should have actually already living in, but placement to me means people we are placing, not people who are living in
No,
residential.
these are permanent admissions.
Yes, so and I would say that I'd be better described as people living rather than placement, because it is a big difference.
So, okay, let's look at the definition here.
But thank you, yes. It's useful to be able to work through that, hopefully.
I'll be happy to help.
Then we have one as well.
I think it'd be useful if anyone's got any detailed questions or concerns that we put forward.
The general thing is that this is going to be the most useful tool we have as a board. We all know what we need to be trained how to use it effectively.
They'll be able to understand.
Training session.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's the training session on this? Which time you did Thomas, you did an excellent training session, but not many doesn't send it.
Question on pass, I'll bring forward and then Bernie.
Well, mine's less technical, but hopefully not all.
be that as you go down to levels below the top strategic level in the council, you have to have those sort of input targets. Is that right?
The aspiration is at this level to have targets and to have them as outcome-based targets. Now, I think we try to do that for the majority. We haven't done it for all of them because there are still process targets in there. The aspiration is to move to outcome-based targets, but they will be part of a higher level, which will be underpinned directly by more of those process targets, which all of them and they form that golden thread from the strategic all the way down to the operational level within the organisation. At every level of the organisation, those targets are formalised, monitored, and measured and managed.
Because the reason I ask this is that one of the key things about this is that where they become red or whatever, amber or red, then we would look to see a delivery plan. And that delivery plan really starts then to look at the process targets, almost saying, well, this is how we're going to get out of it because we're going to do this, that and the other. So we would, at some stage, would we not be seeing some of those process targets really as part of looking at what the delivery plan is?
The expectation would be for an area of performance that we would provide additional detail, and also we'd expect members to ask for further analysis, further details to support underpinning those issues.
We mentioned exception reports before, and we have got a template in your pack around that. So where we have some things performing red, we do exactly what Tony was describing, but we would actually get underneath some of those things that you were describing there to explain why we should be why we're seeing the result work, and also to help us determine what we need to do about it. And what we need to do about it would also be part of the exception report, so there would be an explanation of how we were intending to get back to where we should be, not just an acknowledgement that we were off track, but how are we going to address this, how are we going to make it, and we would need that underpinning data to be able to understand what was going wrong. Quite
I'm just going to 16 and I'm going on to the recommendations.
Just one quick, Tony. How soon do we get these figures? Because very often when we look at the plans in the past, we've always found the figures are there, but they're well out of date. These June figures, are they predicted, are they actual, so we're going into the July?
In terms of how we configure the system, we're taking the information as soon as it becomes available. So we are relying on those flows of data. So we've always present the most up-to-date information that we can source. Now obviously we're spending a lot of time at the moment trying to accelerate those processes so we can turn around that data. Obviously the aspiration long term is to have more real-time information. Ideally we'd like to be able to get all this data the next day after the activity is taking place. We haven't yet got the systems and processes.
So am I right in saying it's usually about a month out of date?
It's usually a month out of date. Some indicators that are available.
Because I think when the Bernie goes, it looks as though that's all average on that one. They're only 21, so that's just average on through.
Yeah, we are working with directors we've got quarterly indicators to try and break that down and to get it on a monthly basis.
Recommendation is committee requested future information concerning the Ministry of Please Focus Future Work Programme. So we're happy to add to that members we appreciate some training, but I think if we wait till after the committee cycle, then we'll
I think Paul's got a fair comment. If we don't avail ourselves of it, we're not able to be detailed without constantly asking questions committee, then it's us that's left to have to sit down and not do it.
We'll be happy to have a list of areas of work that have been identified by former scrutiny committees. So we didn't want to lose those things that members had felt were important previously in transitioning to the new arrangements. So it was important to capture those things on there. In addition, there's a couple of areas identified for this coordinating committee which didn't exist in the same way before, but we felt probably fitted within that remit. In two aspects, there's two things perhaps for this committee to consider. The work programme for this committee and then the oversight of the work programme as a whole for all the policy and performance committees. And what I was going to suggest was that on the first meetings of each of the other policy and performance committees, we have asked members to consider their work plans. So they have these lists, and the chairs of those will, encourage the debate about what should be on the work plan. That will feed in and build this committee's oversight work programme, so we can have a look and see what's going on right across. I'd suggest that where there are areas where more than one committee wants to look at the same topic, then it will get referred here for some discussion about what's the best way to deal with that one without predetermining it. And that would be, so if it was something that hit everybody's agendas, then we might well want to arrange a cross-committee piece of scrutiny work or to actually go to the auspices of this committee itself. Also, in your the briefing pack that was part of this set of reports, as I mentioned before, the areas that come within the service areas that are relevant to this committee are